टोरंटो 360 स्पेशल में आपको खुशामदीद। आज हम मौजूद हैं मैपल बैंक्वेट हॉल में आलम लॉ ऑफिस के ज़रिए तमाम रोड सेफ्टी के हवाले से, सीट बेल्ट सेफ्टी के हवाले से एक अहम सेमिनार आज यहाँ मुनक़िद हो रहा है, जिसमें पुलिस के अहम अरकान भी यहाँ पे शामिल हैं, मीडिया मौजूद है, आलम लॉ ऑफिस की टीम मौजूद है। मुख्तलिफ हवालों से इसमें इंफॉर्मेशन दी जाएगी और क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन भी होगा। आपको अंदर लिए चलते हैं हॉल में और देखते हैं कि आज यहाँ क्या कुछ हो रहा है।
Good evening, my name is Mohammed Aftab Alam. I'm the managing lawyer at Alam Law Office. As you may be aware कि आज जो है हम gather हुए हैं for a seminar which is organized by Alam Law Office for seat belt safety के हवाले से. It is at the request of several committee members कि why seat belt is important. इसमें हमने अपने committee members को gather किया है ताकि हम उनको educate करें, train करें, especially youth को कि seat belt पहनना क्यों ज़रूरी है और सीट बेल्ट ना पहनने की वजह से क्या नुकसानात हो सकते हैं। इस प्रोग्राम में हमने इनवाइट किया है और वी हैव अवेलेबल MP इकरा खालिद भी हैं, हरिंदर माली भी हैं, मिल्टन के काउंसलर भी हैं, जाहिद साहब, फॉरेंसिक इंजीनियर्स भी हैं, मेंबर्स ऑफ पील रीजन पुलिस भी मौजूद हैं to give some seminar and presentation for the seat belt safety के हवाले से। आलम लॉ ऑफिस को आपको पता ही है कि आलम लॉ ऑफिस हमेशा कमेटी की हेल्प करने में फोर फ्रंट पर हाजिर रहती है, हमेशा जो है उसने स्टेप फॉरवर्ड किया है इन ऑर्डर टू हेल्प कम्युनिटी, वो इंटरटेनमेंट का हो, लीगल नॉलेज का हो, लीगल हेल्प का हो या एजुकेशनल ट्रेनिंग सेशंस हो। सो दिस सेमिनार इज़ बेसिकली आई वुड से एज अ ट्रेनिंग एंड एजुकेशनल प्रोग्राम फॉर आवर कम्युनिटी मेम्बर्स एंड स्पेशली फॉर द यूथ। होप यू विल एंजॉय द रेस्ट ऑफ द इवनिंग। थैंक यू।
नाज़रीन अस्सलाम वालेकुम, गुड इवनिंग। आज हम लोग आज अपने सेमिनार में सीट बेल्ट सेफ्टी और डिस्ट्रैक्टेड ड्राइविंग के हवाले से एक सेमिनार जो आलम लॉ ऑफिस ने अरेंज किया है टू मेक अवेयरनेस इन आवर कम्युनिटी। वहाँ पे मौजूद हैं टोरंटो 360 टीवी के हवाले से हम लोग शुक्रगुजार हैं कि दे आर हेयर टू कवर आवर इवेंट. This event is the sole purpose of this event to promote awareness in our community. Seatbelt saves life and speeding kills. This is what our message is, and this is what, in fact, the essence of this program, that we all have to ensure that we do not drive fast. We should be within the posted speed limit, because that speed limit is posted for a reason. And whenever we go over that speed, posted speed limit, because these streets are designed for that limit, and whenever we go over that speed limit, obviously, there are chances that you may lose control of your vehicle, you may struck a pedestrian, you may involve in a car accident with another vehicle. In तमाम सूरतों में, plus wearing seat belt, उसके हवाले से हम awareness पैदा करना चाह रहे हैं कि seat belt saves life. Whenever there is an accident and somebody is not wearing seat belt, the results are very traumatic for the driver or passengers or their family. We know that seat belt saves life, but unfortunately, still sometimes we do not follow. You should not wearing seat belt just because there is a demerits point or police may give you a ticket. In fact, you should wear seatbelt for your own safety, for safety of yourself, for safety of your loved one traveling in the car, and and for your own family. Because if you suffered in serious catastrophic injuries just because you're not wearing seatbelt, it's not only your life. It's not only about your injuries. It is about your family as well, the family that you're raising. Your children, your parents, they all will be affected. So with that small message, we will talk a lot here at the seminar. I hope that with our efforts through the seminar, which we will be doing further seminars in other part of the city, if we can save one life, and that will be the result for all my efforts and my team's effort, that we were able to save one life. So please spread the message that you are hearing to your friends, colleagues, family members, whoever you know. And you ensure that if you find anybody who has habit of not wearing seat belt, who is habitual in distracted driving, in both condition, you should use your influence to stop that person and make that person aware about the consequences, because we all know, in fact, what will be the consequences of speeding, not wearing seatbelt, distracting driving. We know that accident can happen, but in fact we take risks, we take chances, and you are lucky that you one is involved in all these things and you have not been involved in a car accident, but that is your luck. We should not be trying your luck every day. We should be in fact following the rules of the road and traffic, and follow whatever you are supposed to do, and avoids a life not only for yourself but other people. With that message, I thank you for.
My name is Ikra Khalid, Member of Parliament, Mississauga, Erin Mills. Keep watching Toronto 360 TV.
I have here with me Mr. Kaisar Chaudhary from RCMP, and then we have Yorkie here to greet the kids from Mississauga Dolphins. So, Kaisar, would you tell a little bit about Yorkie?
Sure. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Yorkie is a very, very special, as we all, most of us belongs from East Indian or Pakistani community, and the cricket is very popular here. I work with a local cricket club, to promote awareness within kids for the positive activities, how to build their careers, to give them a confidence, and that's the Yorkie is the part of that initiative as well. As everybody knows, if the kids are actively involved in sports activities, it keeps them away from so many negative things, and it's a very good character building process too. So the special thing about Yorkie is that it's the only mascot here in Mississauga or GTA area that's kind of unique about Yorkie. And we are a local cricket club. We have more than 150 members. We play GTA Cricket League, Mississauga League, even Brampton League, Etobicoke League. And all over players are placed in different grades, from very initial one to all the divisions and until the elite club. We have a very good prospect in the under-19 cricket for Canada. Over 3 or 4 players are joining the club, and they're looking forward to it. And that's about the Yorkie. I welcome you all here, and I know it's about the safety, seatbelt safety awareness. And the more we get into this unique gadget world, and the speed is more and more in the vehicles, we have to be very, very vigilant about the safety seatbelt. It should be as soon as you step into the vehicles, and you do not have to tell anybody to put the safety belts. That's how it's supposed to be. It should be work mathematically, systematically in your system. As soon as you enter the car, as soon as you enter the vehicle, it should be buckle on. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Qasir Chaudhry. Please have thank you, Yorkie, for coming. And if any kids want to take pictures with them, they can go outside to take the pictures. And now we will officially start our program. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. बहुत आप सब लोगों का शुक्रिया. Welcome to the Safety Awareness Seminar conducted by Alam Law Office. And today we have a very information overload for you, especially for the youth. And we want to concentrate on the youth because they are our future, and we want them to drive safe on the roads for themselves, for their family, and other people who are driving on the streets. So to start the program, I'm going to invite one of our managing barristers from Alam Law Office to welcome everybody. And it's none other than Aftab Alam. Please come to the stage and welcome the audience. Thank you so much.
Good evening, distinguished guests. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this seminar organized by Alam Law Office for seatbelt safety. It's my pleasure to extend a warm welcome to a representative from Peel Region Police Department, Counselor from Milton, Zishan Hamid, and Honorable MPs Ikra Khalid and Harinder Mali. They will be joining us shortly. This seminar is organized by Alam Law Office at the request of several community members. We have felt the need that our community, and especially the youth, should be educated and trained that why seatbelt is important. Seatbelt save life. And in the past few years, we have personally experienced that there have been several fatalities for not using the seatbelt, and those people involved in a car accident. So we have invited our forensic engineer, Sami from Corsi Forensic Engineering will be presenting the seminar as well to highlight the importance of seatbelt and what type of injuries may cause if seatbelts are not used. I will not take much of your time. Thank you very much once again for joining us from your busy schedule, and enjoy the rest of the meeting. Thank you.
I'm sure that most of you are aware the reason that why we are here today is to pay our respects to the family of Rubab, the young girl who passed away in a road accident, and which is the reason why we thought that this was an important event to carry out to raise awareness in the community about driving safely, buckling up, and all the other things that are attached to driving safely. So in honor, in remembrance of Rubab, I will ask respectfully from all of you to please stand up and observe 1 minute of silence. Thank you very much, respected audience. Please have a seat. To start our presentation, I invite Sammy from Kotze Engineering to come and present his presentation on safe driving.
Hi, good evening, everyone. First and foremost, I'd like to thank Mohammed Alam Law Office for having me here to talk about safe driving. We'll talk a little bit about distracted driving as well as... I'll be speaking a little bit, just for a few minutes, about distracted driving, how we as humans drive our vehicles, how we operate our vehicles, as well as the importance of the seatbelt as well. And so I'm going to show a few videos throughout this presentation. I don't want it to be too boring. I know nobody likes math in this room or physics. That's what I studied. But I just want to show a video of what an ideal world would look like. So this is not Highway 10 in Eglinton, just so you know. The type of work that I do every day, and I'm sure this is what the folks at Alam Law Office see on a day-to-day basis. This is the reality. This is the world that we live in when people are distracted when they're driving or not wearing their seatbelts. And so just a little bit about what I do, what our company does. If you don't know what accident reconstruction is, it's the process of recreating a sequence of events leading up to collision and following a collision. And sometimes we're asked by insurance companies, lawyers, depending on the type of collision it is, we have questions that we need to answer. Questions like, did the road in any way contribute to the collision? Too much snow, or the way the road is curved? Sometimes we're asked things like, is the crash avoidable, or was speed a factor? And sometimes we're asked questions like, what was the severity of the collision, or how did the people move in this vehicle, whether they're wearing their seatbelt or not? And so just to give you a few statistics from 2013 in Canada, there are about 165,000 people that were injured in a collision. That's about the size, the population of the town of Oakville. 10,000 of those, approximately, were seriously injured, and unfortunately, almost 2,000 people in Canada in 2013 passed away because of a collision. Here are some stats from Ontario in 2016. There were about 100 pedestrian fatalities, which made about 20% of the total fatalities. 96 that involved large trucks, 96 that involved drinking and driving collisions, 91 that were inattentive driving, 83 that were speed related, 56 motorcycle fatalities, and 53 unbelted occupant fatalities. And you'll notice in the percentage it doesn't add up to 100%. And that's because sometimes you can have multiple data points. So for example, you can have a motorcycle fatality that's also speed related. So it counts into both sections. So I just want to do a pop quiz, just by show of hands. What do you think is the leading factor that contributes to vehicle collisions or car accidents? What is the #1 leading factor? Is it environmental conditions, too much snow, too much rain, the way that the road has been designed? Is it driver error? Or is it mechanical or vehicle failure? Just by show of hands, who thinks it's environmental conditions like snow, the roadway? #2, driver error. #3, mechanical failure or vehicle failure. So we had more people putting their hands up for driver error. So that's correct. Depending on the study that you look at, about 90 to 95% of collisions happen because of driver error. 90 to 95%. And one of the things to keep in mind is as we're driving, a lot of people think, and it was funny as I was listening to the conversation we had at our table, a lot of people were saying, well, when I drive my car and I'm speaking on my Bluetooth, I don't even remember what I was doing. All of a sudden I'm home, right? What happens when we're driving, I'll show you this research paper that looked at how our eye moves as we're driving.
Keep watching Toronto 360 TV. We will be back right after commercial break.
Keep watching Toronto 360 TV. We'll be right back after the commercial break.
A criminal charge can be an ugly and nasty surprise. Don't let bad decisions or unfortunate circumstances take control of your life. The criminal lawyers at Alam Law Chambers will listen to your story and develop the best defense for you. Nothing in life is more important than your freedom. Reliable and affordable, Alam Law.
Having a steady stream of information coming into our mind. What we're doing is we're taking little tiny snapshots of our environment, and then our mind kind of pieces that together. And so in driving response with respect to emergency situation, it's very much instinct. It's not something that's learned. It's not something that you sit there and calculate in your mind. It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction. Now, the good thing about that is that you will react relatively quickly. But there are some limitations to that. And I want to give you an example. Let's say you're driving this vehicle right here, and all of a sudden a deer pops up. Comes from the ditch, from the right to the left, and you have to react right away. What do? Do you go straight, hold on to the steering wheel, close your eyes, and hope for the best? Do you swerve left? Do you swerve right? So who says straight? Your quick knee-jerk reaction without thinking. Deer pops up. Who goes straight? Hands? A couple of people. Who would turn left? Okay. Who would turn right? Who would turn right? So about an even number. So research tells us that you always steer away from your hazard. So most people, if they're faced with this situation, their immediate reaction is to steer to the left. This is something in psychology called difference reduction. It's behavioral psychology. If anybody here watches boxing or mixed martial arts, when someone throws a punch at someone's face, nobody brings their cheek close to it. Take your cheek away, right? But if you actually break this down a little bit, even though the vast majority of people would turn left, it's actually really stupid. Because what you're doing is you're following the deer, and you can hit it. But that's what I mean by the limitations of us as drivers. Our natural reaction is to steer left, even though that's actually, if you break it down and analyze it, it's not really the smartest thing to do. Just to show you a real-world example, and I should say this, you're going to see a few videos that are accidents. This is another one. You're going to see this red vehicle that's making a left-hand turn that's going to just clip a motorcycle. Don't worry, the motorcyclist or the rider seems to be okay because he gets up. But I want to show this to you. I just want to play this one more time, and I want to pause it. Do you see what the motorcyclist did? Right? A hazard's coming from the left to the right. He veers right to try to avoid it. But an accident reconstructionist might say, well, you know what? If you actually turn left instead, this vehicle would have just got out of your path. But that's not how we behave as humans. When we have half a second to react, we're not thinking, okay, let me do the math, let me figure this out, and should I turn right, should I turn left? It's very reactive. Right? So something important to keep in mind, because if you're speeding, you don't have as much distance and time to react. Okay? This is just a little bit of research that tells you that when you're presented with a hazard, about 2/3 of people, 66%, their first reaction is to get on the brakes. That's their first reaction. About 20% of people, your very first reaction is to steer your steering wheel. And then about 3 to 5% people's first reaction is to honk on the horn. And that's usually to yell at the other driver. So one of the things that's important with respect to driver behavior and inattentiveness is something called perception reaction time, or perception response time. And perception response time is basically how much time does it take for you to react to a hazard. Whether it's a vehicle that blew a stop sign, whether it's a pedestrian that ran out on the road, how fast does it take for you to actually react to that hazard? And there's a number of different things. I'm not going to get into them. But there's a number of things that affect that value. Research tells you that you could react in a really good scenario, the ideal situation, you will react in about 0.8 seconds. In a really not ideal situation, let's say it's really, really dark, you can barely make out the pedestrian who ran across the road, for example, you can take up to 2 seconds to react. Okay? And again, there's a number of different things that affect that. Again, I'm not going to get into them, but some of them that I'll point out are things like, a visual cue where you made aware of this. So an example is if I took this clicker and I did this for you. I didn't throw it, but just by going like this, all of a sudden this gentleman was anticipating that I was going to throw it. But what if I'm looking at the screen and all of a sudden I throw it like this? It's the exact same hazard, but he's going to have a different reaction time, right? And that's why it's important to be very attentive on the road, because there can be so many different things that are taking away your attention. So I do want to play one quick game with everyone here. I'm going to play a video. Some of you might have seen this. And what you're going to see is you're going to see people that are dressed in white shirts and black shirts. The people that are wearing white shirts are going to be passing a basketball. And your job is to count how many times the players that are wearing white t-shirts pass a basketball. Okay?
How many?
14? Any other guesses? 16? 14? 15? Okay. Anybody not see a gorilla? Okay, so there's a few people who are like, no, I didn't see a gorilla at all. Okay. So we're very bad at multitasking. Men are much worse than women. My wife is sitting there. She can attest to it and say I'm a terrible multitasker. And it's the same reason why when you are driving if you're driving the car and you have your friend, your family member sitting next to you and they're shouting, watch out, watch out, watch out. And you're like, what are you talking about? And then all of a sudden, something presents itself as a hazard. And that's because you as a driver, you are focused on so many different things, from driving the car to obeying traffic signals and looking at your GPS and all these different things. And that takes away from your attention. So it's very important to be as attentive as possible when you're driving a vehicle. Ignore your cell phone. Ignore the radio. Ignore your kids who are yelling in the back at you. It is absolutely critical to try to be as attentive as possible while you're driving your vehicle. So I want to go through just a couple of quick definitions because I'm going to get into something called speed change. So impact speed is the speed of the vehicles that impact. And a lot of people think speed kills. You see signs on the road, slow down, speed kills. And it's true, speed is a factor. But it isn't speed that actually kills. It's something called speed change. That's what hurts. So speed change is how much speed changed in the vehicle from immediately before to immediately after the collision. Okay? So let's just say I came down here on the 401 and I told you I was rear-ended at 150 kilometers an hour. You would say, how are you standing up here giving this presentation? But what if I was driving 149 kilometers an hour and the person rear-ends me at 150? It's the same thing as me being stopped at a stop sign and someone comes in at 1 kilometer an hour. Not too bad of a hit. So yes, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you can go ahead and speed. That's not what I'm saying. I want to give you an example of how, I'm just going to fast forward through this. There's a crash test that we conducted. We like to do a lot of testing. And so what we did is we did a head-on crash test between two Chevy Malibus. And I want to show you the damage on the vehicles. So here's the damage to the two vehicles. Lots of damage, very severe collision. But the speed was only, the impact speed was just 45 kilometers an hour. That's residential speed, essentially. So if you're in a residential zone thinking, I'm only doing 45, let me just look down on my phone. And all of a sudden you cross the lane and hit someone head on, you might think 45 kilometers an hour, not that big of a deal. But look at the damage that's caused. That's a serious, serious accident. Okay. I want to close off by talking about seatbelt safety. In my job, all I see is time and time again, one accident after another, after another. And one of the unfortunate things is when we do see when seatbelts aren't being used. And one of the common misconceptions, and I actually spoke with my father about this the other day when I was having dinner at his house. He said, I need to be in the habit of putting my seatbelt on when I'm in the back seat. I always put it on in the front, but never in the back seat. But it is so dangerous to be in the back seat without a seatbelt. And it's not because of your own safety. You actually become the most dangerous person in the vehicle. If you don't have a seatbelt and you're in the back seat, and let's say the driver crashes into a pole, the vehicle comes to a stop, everybody has a seatbelt on, they come to a stop, your body keeps flying forward. And what we usually see on some of the files that we get is the driver and the front passenger are the one who are killed or catastrophically injured. It's because someone is flying headfirst into the back of their head. And just to show you an example of that, the test dummy in the back is not wearing a seatbelt. They go flying into the back of the head of the person in front of them. They have a head injury, back injury. Their leg is struck up against the back of the front seat as well. But now take a look at the same crash test, same severity, but now all of a sudden the person in the back is wearing their seatbelt. Your legs will still engage with the back of the seat, but at least your head doesn't hit anything. You protect your head. Not only that, you protect your friends and family that you love in the front seat from sustaining any injury. And last but not least, this was a crash test that was done of a vehicle rollover, where you have 6 crash test dummies that are not wearing their seatbelts. So what you'll see is one person goes up, he doesn't even come back down. That person's head gets hit by the wheel. One person goes out at 45 degrees. That is all. I just want to conclude. I just want to quickly conclude by saying, please, please wear your seatbelts. especially if you're in the back seat. Please do it. If you love the people who are sitting in front of you, you would do that. You would do that for them. And as much as possible, be as attentive as possible on the road. Don't use your cell phones. Don't play with the radio. Don't play with anything. Don't read. Don't put on makeup. Don't do any of that. It can literally mean the difference between life and death. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow, what a powerful presentation by Sammy. Thank you, Sammy, from Kotze Engineering. I'm never going to take my seatbelt off ever again, and I hope everybody here takes the same lesson back home. So next we have a very favorite, my personal favorite MP with us, Harinder Mali, and I will ask her to please come and say a few words about the event today, especially on the seatbelt awareness. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. I want to thank you for having me here today to Alam Law Office. You're always so hospitable by having us here and giving us an opportunity to meet with the community and talk to the community. And I also want to thank you for your service, because this is truly a service to our community, to give them information, much needed information to make our roads safer, which is a priority. It's a priority for our government. It's a priority for all of us to keep our loved ones safe and to make sure they come home at the end of the night. So thank you for taking the opportunity to have this event tonight and to be offering this information to us. I want to also wish you well in all of the endeavors that you've taken on, because with everything that you give back to the community, you truly make it a better place to be. As the Minister responsible for the status of women in Ontario, and as well as being the MPP for Brampton Springdale, thank you again for all of your hard work and your dedication to our community. Have a great night, everyone.
My name is Mohammad Aftab Alam, and you're watching Toronto 360 TV.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। आज अतिया सिद्दीकी फ्रॉम आलम लॉ ऑफिस आपको वेलकम कर रही है हमारे सेफ्टी अवेयरनेस सेमिनार में। और हम ये अवेयरनेस सेमिनार हम इसलिए ज़रूरी समझते थे आज करवाना, क्योंकि पिछले दिनों जो हादसात हमारी कम्युनिटी में हुए हैं उसकी रोशनी में इट वाज रियली इम्पॉर्टेंट टू एजुकेट आवर कम्युनिटी हाउ इम्पॉर्टेंट इट इज़ टू ड्राइव सेफली, हाउ इम्पॉर्टेंट इट इज़ टू बकल अप। एंड आलम लॉ ऑफिस क्योंकि हमेशा इस तरह की चीज़ों में इन्वॉल्व रहते हैं, तो हमने समझा कि ये ज़रूरी है कि हम इस तरह के टॉपिक के ऊपर भी बात करें ताकि हमारी कम्युनिटी में इसकी अवेयरनेस आए, स्पेशली यूथ के लिए। और हमने आज यहाँ पे आपके लिए बहुत अच्छी अच्छी प्रेजेंटेशंस रखी हैं जो कि आपको बहुत यूज़फुल लगेंगी। और थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर कमिंग। एंड डॉक्टर तलहा कुछ कहना चाहेंगे?
मैं सारी अतिया की बातों को सेकंड करूँगा, और जिसमें सिर्फ एक चीज़ मैं ऐड करूँगा कि हमारी मैं मैसेज देना चाहूँगा। हमारी जो यूथ है, जो कि अक्सर मैंने देखा है कि सीट बेल्ट्स नहीं पहनते हैं पीछे बैठकर, तो आगे बैठ के तो पहन लेते हैं क्योंकि दूर से नज़र आता है तो डर के मारे पहनते, बट पीछे बैठ के ज़रूर सीट बेल्ट्स को लगाइए। उसकी वजह यह है कि ये सीट बेल्ट है तो छोटी सी चीज़, लेकिन ये आपकी बिल्कुल जान बचा सकती है। हमारे पास बहुत सारे ऐसे वाक़यात हुए हैं कि पीछे सीट बेल्ट नहीं थी और वो लोग अपनी जान से हाथ धो बैठे, उसमें 99.99% यूथ है। तो मेरा मैसेज है यूथ के लिए कि हर वक्त पीछे बैठें, आगे बैठें, ऑलवेज़ यूथ सीट बेल्ट्स। बैक होम छोड़ दीजिए कि हम वहाँ पे सीट बेल्ट नहीं लगाते थे, तो सीट बेल्ट हमारी सेफ्टी है। तो अब इसके आगे जो हमारी प्रेजेंटेशन होगी उसको आप हमें ज्वाइन करिएगा, और आपको और एज अ लॉयर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, एज अ पुलिस पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू और CMP पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, हर पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से आपको इसके बारे में मिलेगा।
Hi, my name is Aram Abed. I work at Alam Law Office. I'm a part of Team Alam Law Office, and we're having a seminar today on safety for seatbelts, which we all know is an extremely, extremely important thing because it can definitely save a life. We have a lot of cases, even a recent one, where a very young girl was thrown through the windshield because she was not wearing a seatbelt, and if she had been, she would have been alive today. And speaking from personal experience, I was in a car accident myself, and I lost my mother at an extremely young age. I was 17, and she was ejected from the car because she was not wearing a seatbelt, and had she been wearing a seatbelt, she would have been alive today. So I definitely think like having information about wearing seatbelt and how it should be worn and making sure that it's in the right condition and not twisted, I think it's extremely important to have knowledge and information about it, because like I said, it's extremely important in order to save a life. It can really like help you in preventing injuries, serious injuries as well, especially if you go through the windshield, you can really like injure your head and everything. My mom herself was brain dead at the scene of the accident because she was not wearing a seatbelt. So again, like I think it's really important for all of us as a community to really understand and be careful and spread the knowledge about seatbelt and its safety. So yes, everyone should really learn more about it. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Laurencia Fasoyura. I'm a lawyer at Alam Law Office. I've been working with Alam Law for about 5 years now, and I've been practicing law for about 15 years. Today we're here to talk about seatbelt safety and how important it is for people to wear their seatbelts. Sometimes we take it for granted. You get in the car, you start driving, and you don't think to put on your seatbelt. Even if you're going for a short drive to the store, it's very important for you to put on your seatbelt. Because we as lawyers, we deal with clients every day that are involved in accidents, some of them very serious accidents that could result in fatality. And if you don't put on your seatbelt, it could be a very serious accident. So it's very important for you to just take a moment and buckle up, put on your seatbelt. Even if you are a passenger in the back seat or in the front seat, it's very important for you to put on your seatbelt. Just take a moment. And if you don't put it on, you can also get a ticket by the police officers. And we don't want that to happen. And if you have children, you know, it's very important for you to make sure that the children are wearing their seatbelt, because sometimes we as parents, when we get in the car, we tell the kids, put on your seatbelt, but we don't even make sure that they've put it on. Sometimes they'll tell us that they have it on and they don't have it on. So it's very important for you to please check on your children before you start driving to make sure that they all have their seatbelts on. Let them start the good habit of putting on their seatbelt from when they're young, so that as they get older, they will know that it's very important to put on their seatbelt. And let's all be a good example to the children and to the teen that we should all put on our seatbelts, okay? So make sure the children are buckled up, and buckle up yourself as well, all right? Thank you.
Keep watching Toronto 360 TV. We will be back right after commercial break.
Keep watching Toronto 360 TV. We'll be right back after the commercial break.
Are you sure about it? Let's do it then.
The family law lawyers at Alam Law Chambers will be with you during your stressful divorce and custody battle, so that the best possible result can be found for you and your children. Reliable and affordable. Alam Law.
Okay, so the next person who's going to come and present his presentation is none other than Mr. Muhammad Alam, the founder, barrister of Alam Law Office and Alam Law Chambers. So give it up, big hand of applause for Mr. Alam.
Ji, first of all, thank you. I really sincerely thankful to everyone who came here tonight to make this event a success. The reason for organizing this event, even if we are 100 people here, I believe if you take some message from here and you convey this message to 10 people, 1,000 people, and that 1,000 will multiply. The evening that we have arranged today, we will continue this event is east end of the city and west, and our goal is from Alam Law platform, and being a Canadian citizen, being a community member, that if I save one life, I think I have done enough. There's never been enough, but one life is enough that I can save entire family. So we all have to be very serious about Sammy. Your presentation was, in fact, very influential. People who, Ikra, thank you very much. You missed the amazing presentation by Sammy. But I can tell you this, being even a lawyer who deals with fatality, serious injuries, when people lose life, one person lose life, there are several families, in fact, have lost their life. They are alive, but they are not still alive. So, being a personal injury lawyer, even whatever Sammy has showed us, we all know. We're not talking about a science. We're not talking about something that we do not know, or we do not appreciate when we are using a vehicle. It's a privilege to drive a vehicle, but it comes with responsibility. And this is the responsibility that you owe to other citizens, to pedestrians, to other motorists. And when we do not discharge our responsibility, we in fact take lives. This is a little emotional for me as well because, when I talk about these things, emotional is because I've been dealing with those families in the last just 1 year, in 12 months. I've seen 6 young life that have lost, either because of the speeding, distracting driving, or seatbelt. 6 life, only by my office. So there are hundreds of other young people who have lost their life within this year. So with that, let me ask you a question. If anybody can answer, I'm sure many people would know. What is impaired driving? We all hear impaired driving. The driver was impaired, he crashed, involved in an accident, took life. What is your understanding about impaired driving? Generally? Drink, yes? Yeah, driving under influence. This is what generally we think. But unfortunately, that is not the only reason when you are impaired. Most of the people think drink, drive, but in fact, distracting driving is also a form of impaired driving. And distracted driving, you're driving while you're talking on the phone. Sammy has mentioned that you're driving on a phone and you're talking on the phone. You would not remember that you have traveled several miles because you're not really paying complete attention. Your attention is diverted to your conversation, and we don't realize that. We all do it. I do it, but we forget. There are many things. Drinking, eating. I believe, I think we all, while we are driving, we eat and drink. You engage in activities that will take off your attention from the road for 2 or 3 seconds or 4 seconds. And that is enough to have a collision occurred. You don't need a lot of time. So we'll talk about this most common Canadian drivers who admits, what is distracting activities they have involved. 89%, they admit that they were eating and or drinking. 89%. So almost everybody does that. 71% adjusting music, radio. 60% talking to the passenger. 51% reaching into the back seat, sending text messages. The dangerous 5-second rule. When there is a poll, in this poll, 77% of adults from our city and 55% teenagers drivers says that they were easily managing texting while driving. A huge percentage in adult that they are driving and they are texting. And a driver who is texting while driving, they are susceptible 4 times likely involved in a car crash. Any serious crash, you will find they cause distracted driving, either in form of texting, cell phone communication, or engage in other activities. And there's only, you require 3 seconds. 3 seconds, if your mind is off the road, you will involve in a crash. And imagine this, which I did not know even, that when you're driving at 80 kilometer speed, so we're not even talking highway, 401, because we all drive 120.
My name is Ikra Khalid, Member of Parliament, Mississauga, Erin Mills. Keep watching Toronto 360 TV.
So just driving at 80 kilometer speed, a car can cover over the length of a football field in 5 seconds. So all you need, if you're driving in 120, you only need 33 seconds. And you will not realize, and we don't realize, in fact, I don't realize until when this statistic come and I started realizing this, that when you engage in distracted driving while texting, talking to somebody over the phone or talking to your passenger, 3 seconds, and you have traveled about that distance. Just think about this, what will happen within that distance. You are a good driver. You have control over your vehicle. But what happened, the car in front of you came or slammed the brake? You will have no choice. We all know that. But still, we engage in this distracted driving because we take our chances. And most of the people who are driving and while texting and engaging in these activities, they're taking, in fact, just chance. I'm lucky to be alive because I took chance and I was driving and texting, but that was the chance that I was taking. In fact, I was just putting myself and other people in danger if I'm engaging in this kind of behavior while I'm driving. Now here's another interesting thing that every distracted driving, as we said, the impaired driving, very bad. Everybody talks about impaired driving. You should not be drinking and driving. It takes life. But in fact, if you look at this statistic, 83 deaths in Ontario last year just because of distracted driving. And this, in fact, surpassed the speeding, which is only 75 deaths as a result of the speeding. Lack of seatbelt, 49. And alcohol and drugs, 46. So essentially, whatever we think that you're driving, this is bad, but all other things should be okay, that we should continue driving. In fact, number one cause is distracted driving. That takes life. And in fact, it's double than impaired driving as a result of alcohol or drinking. So 692 people have been killed in a car, and several thousands of people were injured, fatally injured in a car accident when you involved in distracted driving. Last year, OPP responded to 8,711 crashes that links to distracted driving. I'll play a short video here. And yes, yeah.
Why are we seeing a ticket for driving with a handheld communication device? The fine is $490 and 3 demerit points upon conviction. You have 15 days to exercise one of the options on the back of the ticket. If you don't do anything within those 15 days, it is automatically guilty. I've seen vehicles drive into one another while a person's been on a cell phone. And the first words out of that person's mouth were, where did that car come from? The reality is, when you are using a cell phone, even if it's on a Bluetooth device, you're still not paying attention to everything that you're doing when you're operating that motor vehicle. Legislation, however, focuses on the person that is using a cell phone in their hand, but the reality is you're distracted if you're on the phone on Bluetooth or you're sending a text. Either way, it is a form of distraction, and you as a driver need to keep in mind that when you're operating a motor vehicle, you need to focus on operating that motor vehicle safely. We're having a lot of second looks, yes, but first question is who died? Well, the reality is you could have died. That text or call, Get End It All campaign will run from Monday right through till Sunday of this week. And we need to remind everybody that's operating motor vehicles to operate them safely. If you don't, you will be held responsible.
Well, that was the message from our police department. So again, so in terms of fine, $490 fine, if you pay, if you are convicted, $1,000, 3 demerits point, that will affect your insurance. But I think the purpose of this seminar is not about worrying demerits point, talking about fine. It's bigger than that. British Columbia, they have started from March 1st, 2000. This is another measure that British Columbia has taken, that the distracted driver have to pay a premium to the insurance company. And again, we're not talking about that you have to pay a premium, but these are the measures that our government has been taking to influence people. You should not be engaging in distracted driving just because that you have to pay a fine or you will face with insurance premium. But you have to be doing these things for yourself, for your own safety and safety of the others. And again, by comparison, exceeding the speed limit by 30 to 49%, 4 demerits point, distracted driving has surpassed the speeding as a cause of death. So again, distracted driver, they are the leading cause of deaths, injuries, fatality. Seatbelt as a lifesaver. Social, all these injuries, accident, that cause socially to us 18 billion annually. So again, these are financial or economic figure. We already talked about a lot about your health, about losing somebody. And there's another thing that seatbelts worn correctly can reduce chances of death in a collision by 47%. So even though if you are wearing seatbelt, we have seen people wearing seatbelt not properly. Their seatbelt is not straight. And I have come across people who in fact use one seatbelt wrapping 2 children. You can imagine, and this is not a joke. This is what have happened, and I have seen, and I've met people who have done this, and they involved in a car accident, and both children were fatally injured. Because properly worn seatbelt obviously save chance of fatal injury and death. And again, we also know there are people who, among us and many of our community, that they will wear seatbelt, but they will remove the shoulder, and they will only use lap. Either they will use it at the back. We do not know why we do that, but still people do that. So, we have to tell any passenger in your car sitting at the back, that's our responsibility, your responsibility to ensure that they properly wear seatbelt. You have to ensure that your seatbelt is not twisted. We have seen, like older car, people are still driving, their seatbelt is twisted. Twisted seatbelt will not function. They will not save your life. Because seatbelt should be straight without any folding or any twist. Pregnant women, if you see anybody, if you come across, if they are wearing seatbelt, they should wear seatbelt a little lower towards their pelvis. So if there is any impact, that impact should be on the pelvis. That will save life. Yet, there are several pregnant, because there's lack of knowledge. There are pregnant women who were wearing seatbelt on their stomach. And obviously, in case of accident, the child will, survival of child will be very difficult. So again, about the history, because Ontario, our province, was the first province who introduced the law back in 1976 about seatbelt. At that time, only 17% Ontarian regularly using seatbelt, and seatbelt use has increased now to 95% or 96%. So 96% people are wearing seatbelt, but yet there's 4% people who are not wearing seatbelt. But we are happy because we think mostly people are wearing seatbelt. But you have to think about this. This 4% people or drivers or passengers, they represent 300 people. 300. And those 300 lives are in danger. And just very last, very interesting information that I just got from Easter weekend, that Ontario Provincial Police recorded a 5 years high in seatbelt charges during their 2018 Easter long weekend seatbelt campaign. 5 years. So, you know, as we are getting into an era where knowledge is available, you know, there are seminars. Our police department, OPP, they are regularly conducting you know, seminars for awareness, but yet in the last 5 years, this is the highest. So essentially, things are not really working. And just OPP for this weekend, they have laid 1,525 seatbelt related charges. But just think about this, these 1,500 people, they were sitting in a time bomb, literally time bomb, not by only by themselves, but other passengers as well. And that can be explored anytime, because a car accident can happen anytime. And if accident happens, either you will lose life or your passenger will lose life. With that, I think I'll just conclude my opening. Thank you once again for listening and bearing with me with this information.
My name is Samina Ahmed, and you are watching Toronto 360 TV.
Mr. Alam, I don't think we had to bear with it. It was really very informational, and I'm sure that we're going to take a lot of it back and apply it in our daily lives. Thank you so much. Have a seat. Next, I would like to invite our favorite MP, Ikra Khalid, to come and speak a few words about this seminar and the importance of driving safe.
That was a fantastic presentation. Thank you so much, Mr. Alam. Can we have another round of applause for Alam Saab? So earlier today, I got rear-ended.
Oh no!
Somebody, I was stopped at a traffic light, and I guess somebody had not been paying attention and didn't stop, and boom, collided with my car. So you'd like me to do it over here? Yes. Aha, I see the trick. And so I was not hurt because I was wearing my seatbelt. Thank you for that advice, Alam Saab. And Sana was not hurt, also wearing her seatbelt. And the car wasn't coming very fast. But the person behind me was indeed on her cell phone at the time that it had happened. I am equally guilty because I was dialing a number through my car's phone as I was trying to make a right turn there. I stopped at that light. So we deal with this on a daily basis. But you know, I want to say that Alam Law Office and Mr. Alam and the whole team makes my job, makes the job of police officers and other community workers a lot easier because of the social responsibility that you have in hosting events like these, in raising awareness. You know, I really think that business and community building must go hand in hand. And I've seen Alam Law Office grow over the past number of years. And they've grown because they have such a great heart, because they have such fantastic relationships with the community. And that's something that I encourage everybody here to do. And I see that a lot of the people in this room do that, give back to the community in many ways. So I am coming from Toronto right now. I gave up a personal meeting opportunity with Malala Yousafzai so I could attend and give back to our community and really support community initiatives like this. And I am really thankful to all of you for coming out and for supporting initiatives like this. Now, I do have a little bit of a connection to the topic here today, other than being rear-ended today. I sit on the Standing Committee for Justice and Human Rights in Ottawa. And that means that we deal a lot with issues of the criminal code. And we amend legislation that impacts the criminal code, that impacts our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, our Constitution. And recently, we just, we reviewed and put forward a legislation that is going to impact impaired driving and the laws around it, as we take into account what is going to be the legalization and strict regulation of cannabis. We want to make sure that our legislation, our criminal code, really focuses on providing that safety on the road. So there are some new rules coming out. They will be a lot stricter, and they will ultimately ensure the safety of Canadians that are on the road, our young people. I think that these distracted driving regulations that have come out are an excellent piece. I think that they're really going to promote and make our roads safer. You know, when I was driving one day and I had my little brother sitting beside me. Now my little brother's, you know, macho man. As we all know, men think that they drive better than women. Whoever came up with that idea. And I said to him, I was like, you know, I'm a good driver. And he says, it's not you being a good driver that I'm worried about. It's the other people that you're driving with on the road. So if you're not paying attention, if you're not focused, if you're not watching out for that weird driver who keeps veering out of their lane, at 100 kilometers an hour, or is not watching their blind spot when they're turning into your lane, then you're in trouble. And that's why your reflexes must be on point, must be focused, and that is why you can't be distracted when you're driving. So thank you, Alam Saib. Thank you to the whole Alam Law Office team for the great work that you're doing, for really giving back to community, for really encouraging all of us to be safe and hopefully become clients of yours one day.
Keep watching 360 TV. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
आप देख रहे हैं टोरंटो 360 टीवी. मिलते हैं ब्रेक के बाद.
Injuries not only impact you, but also people around you. Life is better than this. Let's get your life back. The injury lawyers at Alam Law will use their years of experience to handle your claim so that you can focus on your recovery. And remember, you don't pay until we win. Alam Law.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for organizing this. As Ikra said, it's Alam Law. You guys have been out giving back to every single thing. Literally, every 2 weeks, I see these guys in the event either sponsoring it or organizing it, so thank you very much for that. I was actually texting my teenager who's getting ready to get her G1, saying this is actually super useful. I've been driving for 20 years. I started driving when I was 5. And I gotta say, I found it extremely useful myself. So it was a driving refresh. A lot of things that I've actually never learned. I never realized that if you don't wear seatbelt in the back seat, you actually endanger people in the front. It makes sense, but I never thought of it that way. That's actually brilliant, because I gotta tell you, when I sit in taxis, I don't wear a seatbelt in the back, and I will now. So thank you for that. I won't take much of your time, except saying that let's try to share that knowledge with everybody else. And I don't know if you can organize this again, because I think a lot more people will benefit from it. I think that a lot of people probably didn't realize how useful it was going to be. So if you were to do this again, I think all of us can probably bring out 15, 20 more people each.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our plan, Zishan. To east end of our city and west, we will organize this seminar, because this was just a test and very occasional, because there is Arshad Bhai families available here. in an honor for Rabab as well. She is from Milton, from my city.
And mine.
Obviously, and yes.
Our
so
city.
You can continue.
No, I'm good. I'm done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Before I invite the family of Rabab to say a few words about this incident that we've all been through, I would like to request the Peel Police to please come on the stage and say a few words about this. Please put your hands together for the Peel Police.
My name is Paul Pogue, and I'm the inspector. I'm the officer in charge of our road safety services. Chief Evans was unable to come tonight. She had a previous engagement. We have our auxiliary graduation tonight. I extend my sympathies to the family. I'm familiar with that. It's my unit that's been investigating it. Just to give you a bit of context, we have 15 investigators that are reconstruction experts in Peel. Supervised by 3 sergeants. Jeff Ball is one of the constables, and I would like it very much if he had less work. It really is horrific. You know, we read about the crime in our cities. Our cities are changing, society's changing. We're doing what we can to go with that. But the reality is, and I tell this because people sort of lose focus, everybody in here is law-abiding people. And where they're going to get hurt or injured, or a family member is going to get hurt or injured, is on our roads. And it's so avoidable. Maybe we're all going to be better off when they perfect this autonomous driving. I mean, it is coming here at some point, because I think part of the problem now is we also drive based on our emotions. You know, if we're angry, we drive differently than when we're calm. And so you put all those people on the road, and it can be a very dangerous place. Speaking to the topic at hand of the seatbelts, you know, they save lives. It's been demonstrated over the years. When we give out tickets now, we're not a collection agency. We're not doing it for the province. We're not doing it for the cities. We're doing it with the intent of modifying people's behavior. Because like the stats said, most people are wearing it. I really don't understand why anybody's not wearing it now. We go to these terrible accidents. We see people that were ejected that would have survived otherwise. But I don't want to give you the impression that just because you're wearing your seatbelt, you're going to be safe. The engineer was referring to speed, and he's the expert, not myself. But when you're on the highway, and his analogy is very true, but what we're seeing on our regional roads, most of our really serious accidents are not happening on the 40-kilometer residential and 50-kilometer residential streets. They're happening on here, Ontario, on Eglinton, on Derry, on Britannia. You know, the 80 kilometers where now the speeds are up higher. And what's happening is the speed is killing because there's a collision. And it's not like the highway where there's unobstructed, you know, it's just the guardrails. You come into contact suddenly with poles and trees, and that's the sudden stop. So the higher that speed is when you stop, it's catastrophic. Speaking to seatbelts, though, someone mentioned originally, one of the people, that it's about the children. To me, the children should be, you have to teach them as parents to wear it from day one. Because I know with my children, and I don't know if you have it with the kids with their bike helmets as well, when you start very young, I would argue that most of the people in here, it's the adults that are probably getting the tickets and not the children. The children learn from day one to put it on, and wouldn't think once they're 16, if they've been indoctrinated with it, to not wear their seatbelt. It's the older people not wearing their seatbelt. So I think it's very important for parents right from the get-go to be insisting that children be in those seats. Keep them in the child seats as long as they can according to their weight class. It will save them. It will save them. And the other thing is that the cars have been engineered so well. You know, we and the engineer will back me up on this. We think of the old cars, you know, a 30-year-old Buick, and you think, but I've got all this steel around me. The problem is that when you were in a collision, the car didn't collapse. You absorbed the. In the new cars, if you see them, the cars are destroyed. But the passenger compartment is still safe. That's the marvels of the engineering. But the seatbelt, in order for the seatbelt to work, in order for the airbags to work, which are a wonderful safety feature, you need to have your seatbelt on. So they're all we have marvelous technology that's keeping us safe, but it all works together. Another quick thought I would like to throw out for the parents in the room is there's a lot of research going on. It's more so in the U.S., but even today and over the generations, we have a tendency, for instance, to hand down to our young children, maybe they finished college or that we give them our, we'll call it our 10 or 12 or 14 or 15-year-old car. And the studies now are saying, hold on, maybe don't go and buy yourself a new car. I'm not saying get the kids a new car. But I'm saying maybe go and get the kids a car that's 4 or 5 years old that has all these wonderful new safety features. We call them nanny features, the pre-braking and electronic stability control and all this type of thing. We don't usually think of that. But most of us are experienced drivers. And we can get, it's the young children that are learning to drive that need those nanny features. So I just put that out there for thought. If you Google that on the internet, the National Highway Administration in the U.S. and it's an interesting thing because we never really think about that. But they're the ones that need the protections above and beyond the parents. We've been driving for years. It's these young children, and then you throw in the fact that we have these electronic devices. And it was the engineer that overheard me earlier saying the Bluetooth, and we've all done it myself. We think, yeah, you're legal, you're complying. But I just got home and I've been on the Bluetooth the whole way. I don't even know what road I took. We're on autopilot. Just be mindful of that. Just because it's lawful doesn't mean it's always the best thing to do. Rick Mercer did that. I don't know if you've ever seen the Rick Mercer. He did that one skit on phones years ago. And he basically said he's so bad, the only way he's not on his phone is he's putting it in duct tape and putting it in the trunk. If you're like that, come up with a similar solution, right? I always tell the kids, I coach hockey. I coach young kids hockey and they're all 16 and 17 and starting to drive. And I always sort of tease them. I'm a bit of a joking personality. I say, when's the last time, and this applies to all of you as well, when's the last time you got that urgent text? If it's that urgent, they're going to phone you. They're not going to text you. But we've become conditioned that we have to respond to this text right away. Just if we can focus on the roads, the police want you to be safe, your families want you to be safe, and the defensive driving, yes, we can't control the others on the road, but I'd rather avoid the collision by being defensive. So that are our thoughts, and like I say, I would like him very much not to be as busy.
So I would just request either one of the parents or both, whoever would like to come and say a few words. And we all know about what you have lost, Arshad Bhai and family. We're all here for this solidarity. And if you can say a few words.
Thank you. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, gentlemen. I just want to say a few words because I heard Sammy, I heard Mr. Alam too. They did an excellent job here. My daughter's not here. She's sitting in the back of seat, and then please wear the seatbelt. Seatbelt is save life, like Sammy said and Alam said. It's very important. If you're not guys wearing the seatbelt, it's more dangerous. My daughter is not with us. An example is here. Her friend who's sitting beside on the front of the seat, she's wearing seatbelt. My daughter's not, so she's not with us. So please. I advise to all parents and whoever sits inside the car, back of seat or front seat, please, everyone has to be wearing the seatbelt because seatbelts save life. This is like my message, loud and clear. If you're not wearing seatbelt, you already know. So please wear the seatbelt. And I heard from Sammy. Explain everything, 2 or 3 seconds we need to apply brakes. Make sure, please, distance is very important. If you want to stop the car in front of you, okay, you need the distance. And distance depends on your speed too. Okay, and 1 second, your mind's thinking, second, your body's applying. And third is final apply. And if you don't have 3 seconds, trust me, you're not going to save your car. You're not going to stop your car. So braking times is very important, and plus seat belt, and make sure speeding is no good. Speed is killing you. Don't do that. And please advise all kids, whoever sit beside back of your car, even van, small car, please wear the seat belt. and you're in charge, whoever's driver, he's in charge, he's going to ask to everyone, please wear the seatbelt. Thank you very much.
So Ashok, as he just stated, she was wearing seatbelt, and she is with us. Sabir, you want to say a few words about whatever message you want to give to all of us, all the elders, because we also make mistakes. We don't realize what we are doing. So if you want to say a few words, thank you.
Rabab was like a sister to me, and I never thought that there would be a time when I won't be able to see her. Just 5 minutes before, we're just eating, hanging out, we're joking, and then just because she wasn't wearing a seatbelt and just because of someone else's negligence, she's not with us anymore. This just makes me really, I don't know what to say, because she was right in front of me and there's nothing I could do about it. I don't remember anything. Yes, I was wearing a seatbelt. Yes, the driver was speeding. I don't know whose fault it was. Maybe it was Rabab's fault not wearing a seatbelt. She should have worn a seatbelt. If she was wearing a seatbelt, she would have been with us right now here. It's just really, I don't have no words to talk about it. It's just, I'm sorry, but she just left me like that. She was a very good driver, I'm not gonna lie. She's been driving for a while and she was such a good driver. Like every time I would sit with her, I would tell her that, you know what, I'm so safe with you. I don't even feel that much safe when I'm with my mom or when my mom's driving, because I don't know, there was something about it. I could trust her completely. I could just text, I could do whatever I want, but when I'm with someone else, I just have to look around and make sure that, okay, this man's driving properly or whatever. But what makes me sad is because it wasn't even her fault, She was the person who was speeding, he didn't realize that he was risking his own life and 2 other lives, but, she got ejected from the car. If she was wearing a seatbelt, she would have remained in the car, it would have caused less damage. But I just, it's just really hard thinking that she's not anymore, and, just a message for everyone, I'm an example here. I had serious injuries, but I'm here with my dad, with Rabab's family, alive, walking on my own, just because I was wearing a seatbelt. I should have advised her. Her car was actually like that, even when I used to sit at the back of her car, I would not wear a seatbelt because I was like, you know what, why should I wear a seatbelt? Say nothing's gonna happen. Never in my life I thought something like this would happen, that she would get ejected from the back of the car. But anyways, please, everyone, make sure you guys are driving the proper speed limit and make sure you guys are wearing seatbelts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We all know that mistakes happen, and this is what we are focusing on. This is not a mistake that anybody can take on.
My name is Ikra Khalid, and keep watching Toronto 360.
My name is Mohammad Aftab Alam, and you're watching Toronto 360 TV.
Buying or selling a residential or commercial property is one of the biggest financial decisions most people will make in their life. The real estate lawyers at Alam Law Chambers will guide you through the complete real estate laws to ensure your transaction completes on time and your dreams come true. Reliable and affordable. Alam Law.
But if anybody has any question, please raise your hand. We are here to answer any question or concern. We will provide this presentation and information to everybody who has left their business card. So anyone?
Recommendation on the distance. So how many meters? I know we all did the G1. We all should know this. We've done the studies. So we've done the studies, we've done our G1, but what is your recommendation for the meters ahead of us, for the regional roads, from the local roads and the highways?
I don't have a number for you other than common sense. I mean, I'm sure there's a math formula, but I'd rather err on the side of common sense. When we're on the highway and we're on the roads, everybody, it's pervasive across on the roads. Everybody's following too close. You don't need to, if you can't see, even at a low speed, if you can't see the license plate in the car in front of you, you're way too close. I mean, we've all seen it, right? The person who's speeding and being aggressive, and then you pull up 3 minutes later and they're at the red light beside you. You don't get there any quicker. I hit the key, and that's why I'm a big advocate, and it's not just for the insurance discount, but for the young children taking their G1, but to take the driver's ed, because that is all about defensive driving. I mean, as I tell my children, I have a 16-year-old and 18-year-old. Interesting times. It's about not getting in the collision. It was going to be the other guy's fault, but you were able to avoid it, as opposed to you got in the collision and it was his fault. So that whole defensive mentality, right, is we have to ingrain in people. Driving can be very safe. I enjoy driving, but it can be, every day. It's one of the most dangerous things we do as well. So common sense will take us a long way.
I have a question for the booster seats. How did that save your life?
Okay, so she wants
maybe Sammy, you may have
sit in the front street.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I also want to stress, you mentioned child safety. Please don't put any children in the front passenger seat if they're 12 and under. The airbags are not designed for children that size. Basically, if you're 100 pounds or less. What happens is the airbag will deploy and basically take their head off. You need to be an adult. You need to be a full-grown adult to be essentially sitting in the front passenger seat.
Police, and I've been there for 2.5 years. But prior to getting there, I assisted on another major collision that they investigated on Beauvais Drive. And I can tell you that a properly installed baby seat, rear-facing, there was a head-on collision, and that baby had 0 injuries because it was properly installed and secured in the car.
One quick question. This might be a political question, but we totally understand that it's a political decision. Nobody in this room, other than a couple of members of parliaments, are involved in making this decision. The legalization of marijuana, cannabis, will it carry an impact on the road safety? Because the community here is very concerned that even if you're not consuming anything, the driver might, and it could lead to an accident. And is the police trained, equipped, and ready to brace this situation?
My name is Mia Abubakar, and you're watching Toronto 360 TV.
We're doing everything we can to prepare. There's a lot of training that has to be done. We can't just do this overnight. In our case, throughout Ontario, through the ministry and through the Ontario Police College, there's a program to train 1,500 additional officers in a fairly rapid succession in something called standard field sobriety testing. And that's a 4-day course the officers undergo. And to teach them some basic additional information. It applies to alcohol as well, but drug impairment is more difficult for them to articulate and to describe. So we're putting a lot more officers through that training. I'm not going to get into my personal views. I don't think they're relevant. But what I will say is whatever the date of the legislation, it's not a magic switch. People are out there driving impaired by drugs now. It's not like they're not waiting until, I think in the study showed that Canadian youth are some of the highest users of cannabis. So it's going on now. Some of the U.S. states, some of the studies there afterwards have shown an increase, but you have to be careful because you don't really know what stats were compiled and how they were compiled before. As with anybody who's taken a statistics course knows, you can sort of make statistics say whatever you want. I think we're going to have to wait and see. The police are doing everything we can. There's a significant public education campaign that's going to be rolled out by both the federal and provincial governments. I will agree, and I shouldn't make a personal comment, but you know, I don't think what we've been doing with marijuana, I mean, I've been a policeman 35 years in October, I don't think what we've been doing is working. You know, so it is time for a new approach. You know, the other thing we talk about impaired driving is we think of alcohol, we think of marijuana or some of these others. But, you know, we have people driving around that are impaired every day on their prescription medication. That's been going on for forever. So it's been going on, and now, so when we take this SFST training, and we have some drug recognition experts that we're training, these are very, very intensive and difficult courses that we're teaching some selected officers. They're going to be better at identifying the person who's high on their Percocets and high on their painkillers that they're taking, that, you know, they haven't been drinking and they're not smoking marijuana, but they shouldn't be driving. So we're going to be more at identifying them as well. So, you know, the legislation, you know, I mean, I know the government, it's hard for us right now because we don't know what the final legislation is going to look like. We have an idea, but we can't start our training because often as legislation goes through the different processes, it gets tweaked. So, but we are, you know, we're doing all we can, we're preparing, and I do believe firmly as a Canadian, as a citizen, it's not for the police to tell us, it's for the police to enforce the rules once the legislatures decide that's the rule of the land.
Put emphasis on the word impairment. Impairment itself is a big word, and it's a mental state of a driver that can be affected with anything and everything, emotionally, by drugs, even by drinking. If you are so tired, that can affect too. So I want everybody to take home is the impairment, and that comes in every shape and every kind. Thank you very much.
Although this is not a relevant question, but it's happening all over the Ontario. People are not stopping at the stop sign. They just turn. Even at a red light, they make a right turn without fail. So what are we looking at? Like when I took license, they taught me all that you have to stop. And if you stop, then they start honking behind you. So what you guys can do for that?
Well, before he says anything, but we have to remember this. There are a lot of idiots out there to take your life. And if they honk you, you should not be caring. You should do what is right thing to do.
I'm your host and host Arshad Bhatti. Keep watching Toronto 360 TV.
40 officers that are doing the impaired and doing the strategic enforcement. And what we do in Peel with strategic enforcement, this may upset you, is I'm not concerned as a police officer about the person who's going through the stop sign in an area of a residential area where there's never been an accident. Right? So what happens, I'm sitting on a committee with the city of Mississauga right now. And you see that the citizens get up, and I live in Etobicoke, and it's emotional because it's our neighborhood, and we get mad when people, you know, speed by our house, don't stop at the stop sign near us. But it's not a good use of police resources to be going and enforcing those when there's no business case to support it. Where we need to be is where the accidents are occurring and where the serious accidents are occurring. There's only so many of us. I would rather the officers be enforcing the aggressive driving and the speeding and all that on our roads where we know we're having the problems, instead of the stop sign in Sleepy Hollow that no one stops at, but there hasn't been an accident in 10 years. I hate to tell you, but that's just, I'm being candid. So you have to look after your responsibility. We still do go to those areas. When we have chronic problems in certain areas, we will go there. No. There's only so many police resources, and in this day and age, we have to use them effectively, right? We're turning into a business model, and we have to do what makes strategic sense. We have to put the officers where we're going to get value for our service.
So, just a bit of education that I think we all need, and the answer may be pretty simple. But for example, if I'm a person who follows the speed, who is not impaired, who is very careful in driving on the highways, But if I see someone who's not, what do you think are the guidelines for us? Because I can save myself by staying away from that lane or from that person on the road, but that person may go ahead and injure someone else. So what do you suggest? Or do we have any hotlines for police we can report?
So in Peel, we have a road watch program. If you go onto our website and you see an aggressive driver, you can go onto our website, you can download a form, and you can do it right online. You can give us the license plate, and we'll track that. Now, we're not going to go and charge them, well, we won't charge them, but we'll track it. And if we get 2 or 3 for the same person, we'll go pay a visit. And it's still, I think we're in a society where it's still impactful for most people when all of a sudden just the police.
Right.
And particularly when it's 17-year-old son who's driving, who parents think can do no wrong, and that he does the speed limit everywhere, and they're rather concerned when we show up and, well, I wasn't driving, it must have been my son, and so now the family will look after it. Fair enough. Right? So we have that, and then on the highway, if you think anywhere in Peel, on the QEW with the OPP, if you think that you see a suspected impaired driver, you call 911.
Fair enough.
I mean, I hear it all the time. I haven't been on the road in a while, but I mean, it still goes on every day. Sometime tonight on our communications channel, you're going to hear someone call in a suspected impaired driver, and we respond to that as a priority.
Oh, that's exactly what I wanted to have. A reminder for everyone here is that it's not just saving your own life, it's saving the life of the others.
Well, no, if you see someone and even if you don't, in the end, we determine they're not impaired, but they were so concerned that you called, let us investigate it, because maybe they've got from A to B okay, but they're not going to get from B to C. So let's prevent it. And that is a priority call for us within our organization.
Yeah. Thank you.
So if there are no more questions, then we will put an end to the event today. And we'd like to move on to the dinner. So I think we're all ready for dinner. We had a very informative session. Thank you very much, Sammy from Kotsi. Thank you so much, Inspector, for coming from Peel Police, and all the MPPs and MPs and Councillor to come and speak. And I hope you enjoyed and you're taking back from this session whatever is necessary to protect yourself and your loved ones. Thank you so much. Dinner is served.
My name is Samina Ahmed, and you are watching Toronto 360 TV. Hello, this is MP Ikra Khalid, Member of Parliament in Mississauga, Erin Mills, here today learning about distracted driving and the importance of road safety with Alam Law Office. And I'm just so proud of Alam Law Office. The way they do business is to give back to the community. They build their business by building the community, and I think that's something to really celebrate and commend. I know that everybody here had a very good learning experience. They gained a lot of knowledge from this event today. I know that we have some family members of a recent victim to roadside death who was not wearing her seatbelt, and we recognize and we celebrate her life here as well. And I really encourage everybody, be a safe driver, use common sense on the road, and be safe.
Hi, my name is Sami Shaker. I am a scientist with Kodzi Forensic Engineering, and what we do is we reconstruct car accidents. And I'm here on behalf of Mr. Alam, Muhammad Alam from Alam Law Office, to talk about seatbelt safety and distracted driving. All that I do every day for work is look at car accidents, and one of the most unfortunate things is when we see car accidents where people are not wearing their seatbelt. Not only can it save your life, but if you're not wearing your seatbelt, oftentimes people in the vehicle, they will just go flying out the window or hit their head or their body on other parts of the vehicle, causing more injury to their body. And so what I tell my family, my friends, or what I want to tell you is it is very important to wear a seatbelt. It can not only save your life, but if you are involved in a collision, unfortunately, it could really help mitigate a lot of different potential injuries. So make sure you buckle up, make sure your children are in the habit of buckling.
So my name is Paul Pogue, and I'm the Inspector in charge of Road Safety Services from Peel Regional Police. Tonight's message, we're at this gathering to communicate to the public here the importance of wearing your seatbelt. It really is an integral part of keeping you safe. Cars today are engineered with many different safety features. The ones most familiar to people are the seatbelts and the airbags. They're meant to work in conjunction with one another. Your seatbelt will not work nearly as effectively your airbag will not work as effectively if you're not wearing your seatbelt. We're all concerned about road safety. The one thing that you can do to keep you and your family safe in your vehicles is to stay within the speed limits, because speed is inevitably what really hurts people, speed and collisions. But then using the safety devices that are intended and designed in the vehicles. Seatbelts is of the utmost importance. It secures you, and it's part of the system to keep you safe. So please wear your seatbelt. It keeps you safe. And as a reminder for the parents, you are responsible for anyone in the car under 16 to ensure they're wearing it. So please do your part. Thank you.
My name is Asfandiar Wadiwala. I'm the Vice President Outreach for the Conservative Party of Canada. And I'm here today at the event, a seminar hosted by Alam Law Office in connection of safety driving and the wearing of seat belts on our roads, as day by day our traffic is increasing and is being congested. So we advise you to wear the seat belt always and save the precious life of yourself and others. And I would like to congratulate that they have taken a big step, and often they organize such events off and on to educate the people to remain safe and happy. Thank you very much. God bless Canada. Thank you.
ये आज आलम लॉ ऑफिस की तरफ से जो सीट बेल्ट सेफ्टी अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम जो किया गया है, मैं इसमें आज ख़ास तौर के ऊपर मैं बहुत सारे इवेंट्स के अंदर हम जाते हैं, लेकिन ये है कि इस इवेंट के अंदर मैं ख़ास तौर पे अपनी फैमिली और अपने बच्चों को ख़ास तौर पे, ये मेरा बेटा मेरे साथ खड़ा हुआ है, मैं इनको ख़ास तौर पे लेके आया हूँ ताकि पता चल सके कि विद द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ वेयरिंग अ सीट बेल्ट. अभी अनफॉर्चुनेटली रिसेंट कुछ इस किस्म के इंसिडेंट्स हुए हैं हमारी कम्युनिटी के अंदर, मेरे अपने टाउन के अंदर, जो कि बड़े अफसोसनाक थे, दिल हिला देने वाले थे, स्पीचलेस करने वाले थे. ये वो मोमेंट्स थे जिसके अंदर आपको नहीं पता कि अब आपने किस तरीके से रिएक्ट करना है, सिवाय इसके कि आप एक सदमे के अंदर आ जाते हैं. तो क्योंकि मैंने रिसेंटली अपने क्लोज सर्कल के अंदर मैंने देखा कि ऐसे फेटल इंसिडेंट्स हुए हैं, और उसकी जब आगे जाके पता चला उसकी भी जो फर्दर रीजनिंग जो हुई है उसकी कि क्या रीजंस थी उसके पीछे, उसमें से सीट बेल्ट एक फैक्टर बन के सामने आ रहा था. तो the importance of wearing a seat belt and how it saves life is very important. मैं यहाँ पे ये कहना चाहूँगा कि मेरा जो हम लोग अपनी आंखें इस तरीके से बंद कर लेते हैं जब इस किस्म का कोई इंसिडेंट आता है, हम समझते हैं कि शायद किसी के साथ हुआ है, हमारे साथ नहीं होना. Unfortunately, it is like it's a very unfortunate the thinking process. हम जिस किसी चीज़ों पर परसीव करें कि हर कोई बंदा जिनके साथ ये इंसिडेंट या हादसा हो जाता है वो शायद यही समझ रहा होता है कि उसके साथ नहीं होएगा. तो मुझे जो पता चला अभी हमारी अपनी डिफरेंट कम्युनिटी के रिप्रेजेंटेशन से कि हमारा जो कम्युनिटी के अंदर जो इस वक्त सीट बेल्ट ना पहनने की वजह से जो कैजुअलिटीज़ हो रही हैं, इन कैजुअलिटीज़ के अंदर से जो नंबर 1 जो कम्युनिटी आती है वो पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी है, और उसके बाद जो सेकंड नंबर पे जो भी कम्युनिटी आती है उसके जो कैजुअलिटी के फिगर्स हैं उसमें और हमारी कम्युनिटी के फिगर के अंदर बहुत ह्यूज डिफरेंस है. मैं आलम लॉ फर्म वालों का इनका मैं थैंक्स दूंगा. दे हैव पुट इट टुगेदर. इन्होंने बहुत ही इंफॉर्मेशन से भरपूर सेशन यहाँ पे किया, वेरी इंटरैक्टिव. मेरे यानी कि तीनों बच्चे मैं अपने साथ लेके आया था, इन्होंने तीनों ने यानी कि बड़ा गौर से सुना, एंड होपफुली it will impact my family, the session from today, and it will change the the behavior in the car for my family, and also everyone else who attended here, and and you as well. अगर आप लोग जब ये देखेंगे, मैं इनकी कम्युनिटी सर्विस का, इनकी सोशल सर्विस का मैं इनके बहुत मशहूर हूँ ऑन अ पर्सनल लेवल कि इन्होंने जो हमारी कम्युनिटी की सर्विसेज करें हैं. अल्लाह ताला इनको जज़ा दे. Thank you very much. Seat belt does save a life. Thank you.
So I'm here with Zishan Hamid, our Milton councillor, and my name is Faisal Elahi. ذیشان کیا میسیج دیں گے آپ آج کا جو پروگرام ہے؟
دیکھیے آج کا پروگرام بہت ہی زبردست کیا ہے, بہت بہترین کیا ہے. جیسے میں نے پہلے ذکر کیا تھا, آئی بین ڈرائیونگ فار آلموسٹ 22 ایئرس, اور کچھ چیزیں میں نے سیکھی ہیں جو کہ میں نے بھی نہیں سوچی تھیں. جیسے بیک سیٹ میں اگر آپ سیٹ بیلٹ نہیں پہنتے ہیں تو صرف اپنے آپ کو رسک نہیں کر رہے ہیں, آپ آگے والے کو نقصان پہنچا رہے ہیں, کیونکہ اگر ایکسیڈنٹ ہوتا ہے تو آپ آگے والے کو آگے مارتے ہیں. تو میسج یہ ہوا کہ آپ سیٹ بیلٹ کے آگے بھی سوچیں, سیٹ بیلٹ کا بھی سوچیں, ڈسٹریکٹڈ ڈرائیونگ ان جنرل سوچیں. I have seen people driving and Facebooking at the same time, not just messaging, but actually out with Facebook. اب بہت زیادہ ہو گیا ہے. ڈرائیونگ کے وقت ڈرائیونگ کریں, جب نئی ڈرائیونگ کر رہے ہو تو باقی چیزیں کریں.
شکریہ بہت بہت. سو لائک ذیشان نے جیسے کہا, اور میرا بھی یہی میسج ہے کہ پلیز 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 جب بھی آپ ڈرائیونگ کر رہے ہیں, خالی سیٹ بیلٹ آگے والوں نے نہیں لگانی ہے, بلکہ آل دا آکیوپنٹس آف دا کار نیڈس ٹو بی بکلڈ اپ. اٹس ویری امپورٹنٹ. یہ میسج اور یہ آج جو سیمینار کیا ہے عالم صاحب نے, یہ اسی کے اوپر تھا. تو آئی ہوپ کہ وی ول گیٹ دس میسج اکراس اینڈ اسپریڈ اٹ.
السلام علیکم. میں آپ سے ایک انسیڈنٹ شیئر کرنا چاہتی ہوں جو میرے ساتھ 2 months پہلے ہوا تھا. میری وی گاٹ ان اے کار کریش. ہمارا ایک ایکسیڈنٹ ہو گیا تھا جس میں میری بیسٹ فرینڈ کی آن اسپاٹ ڈیتھ ہو گئی تھی بیکاز اس نے سیٹ بیلٹ نہیں باندھا ہوا تھا, اور کار بہت اسپیڈ میں تھی. میں بھی سیریسلی انجرڈ تھی, اور اس کو بھی ہاسپٹل بھی لے جانے کا نوبت نہیں آئی بیکاز اس کی آن اسپاٹ ہی ڈیتھ ہو گئی تھی, کیونکہ وہ گاڑی سے باہر گر گئی تھی. تو جسٹ اے میسج فار ایوری ون کہ پلیز سیٹ بیلٹ باندھ کے گاڑی میں بیٹھ کے سیٹ بیلٹ باندھا کریں, بیکاز اٹ میٹرز. چاہے آپ فرنٹ میں بیٹھیں, چاہے آپ بیک میں بیٹھیں, پر پلیز سیٹ بیلٹ ضرور پہن کے بیٹھیے, بیکاز سیٹ بیلٹ کین سیو اے لاٹ آف لائفز. اگر اس نے سیٹ بیلٹ باندھ لی ہوتی تو شاید انجریز ہوتی, پر وہ آج ہمارے بیچ میں ہوتی. اس کی نہ پہننے کی وجہ سے وہ آج نہیں ہے, اور کیونکہ میں نے سیٹ بیلٹ باندھا تھا تو میں آج آپ لوگوں کے سامنے ہوں. تو پلیز 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 ڈرائیو سیفلی, اپنی اسپیڈ لمٹ میں رہ کے ڈرائیو کریں, اور پلیز میک شیور کہ آپ لوگ سیٹ بیلٹ پہنیں.
میرا نام ارشد علی ہے. میری بیٹی کا نام رباب ارشد. یہ ایکسیڈنٹ ہیپن ہوا تھا میوس اینڈ ایگلنٹن میں. میں صرف لوگوں کو انفارم کرنا چاہ رہا ہوں اور بتانا چاہ رہا ہوں کہ سیٹ بیلٹ امپورٹنٹ ہے, اور ایز اے انسٹرکٹر, ایز اے ڈرائیونگ انسٹرکٹر, سیٹ بیلٹ بہت ضروری ہے. اور کیونکہ وہ سیٹ بیلٹ نہیں اس نے پہنی ہوئی تھی, وہ بیک اپ سیٹ تھی, چلا نہیں رہی تھی گاڑی, لیکن اس کو سیٹ بیلٹ پہننی چاہیے تھی. تو پلیز میں سب کو ایڈوائز کر رہا ہوں کہ سب کے لیے جب بھی آپ گاڑی میں بیٹھیں تو سب کو آپ کہیں کہ بھی سیٹ بیلٹ پہنیں, چاہے وہ بڑے ہوں یا چھوٹے ہوں, بچے ہوں, تو پلیز ان کے لیے سیٹ بیلٹ کا پہننا بہت ضروری ہے. یہ لیگلی اور سیفلی رہنے کے لیے آپ کو بہت ضروری ہے کہ سیٹ بیلٹ پہنی جائے. میں اور ایز اے فادر میں بہت مشکل سے ہم یہ ٹائم گزار رہے ہیں, کیونکہ اٹس ناٹ ایزی. میری بیٹی چلی گئی, لیکن میرا میسج کلیئر ہے کہ ہر بندے کو سیٹ بیلٹ پہننا بہت ضروری ہے. اور میری ایڈوائس ہے چھوٹے بچے سے لے کر بڑوں تک, پلیز سیٹ بیلٹ پہنیں, خود پہنیں, اور دوسروں کو بھی کرج کریں کہ وہ پہنیں سیٹ بیلٹ. سیٹ بیلٹ سیف لائف. سیٹ بیلٹ تھرون, my daughter is thrown out from the car. The reason is because she is not wearing seat belt. So seat belt is very important. میرا خیال ہے کہ ہمیں بہت ضروری ہے ہر پیرنٹس کو اپنے بچوں کے ساتھ 5-10 منٹ اس ٹاپک پر بات کریں, اور انشاءاللہ دیکھیے گا ہم دوسرے بچوں کو بھی سیف کریں گے. اور اب تو میری ایک سیفٹی ایشوز کے اوپر میں تو ہر جگہ پہ تیار ہوں جانے کے لیے. اور میری فیلنگز یہ ہیں کہ ایز اے فادر بیٹی کے لیے, ہر بچے کے لیے, پلیز سیٹ بیلٹ کو نہ بھولیں, اور سیٹ بیلٹ سیف یور لائف.
Thank you very much.
عادل فاروق بیرسٹر اینڈ سولسٹر. آج ہم یہاں پہ عالم لاء آفس کی طرف سے سیٹ بیلٹ کی امپورٹنس کے اوپر جو ایک سیمینار ہو رہا ہے اس کو اٹینڈ کر رہے ہیں. یہ بہت ہی اچھا انیشیٹو ہے عالم لاء آفس کی طرف سے, اور یہ ایک آئی اوپنر تھا ہمارے لیے, کیونکہ بہت ساری ایسی چیزیں ہیں جو کہ آپ کی ڈرائیونگ کے حساب سے جو کہ ہم لوگوں کو جس کا بالکل بھی پتہ نہیں ہوتا, اور ہم اس کو دھیان میں نہیں لے کے آتے. سیٹ بیلٹ کے علاوہ جو دوسری آئی وڈ سے موسٹ امپورٹنٹ اینڈ ڈینجرس تھنگ ہے وہ ہے ٹیلی فون کا استعمال. ٹیلی فون کے سے جیسے کہ نئی لیجسلیشن جو ہوئی ہے جس میں انہوں نے ٹیلی فون کا نام چینج اس کو ڈیوائس کو کر کے انہوں نے ہینڈ ہیلڈ ڈیوائسز کر دیا ہے, جس کا مطلب یہ ہے کہ کوئی بھی ہینڈ ہیلڈ ڈیوائس جو ہے اگر آپ کے ہاتھ میں ہے آپ ڈرائیونگ کر رہے ہیں تو آپ کو پولیس آفیسر روک کے آپ کو چارج کر سکتا ہے. اور ناٹ اونلی دیٹ, کیونکہ دس از ون آف دی مین cause of distraction while you are driving, اور distraction جو ہے this is the main cause of many of the accidents. ابھی اب جو ہم نے یہاں پہ سیمینار اٹینڈ کیا اس میں بھی یہ اس چیز پر بہت زیادہ زور دیا گیا ہے کہ جتنے بھی ایکسیڈنٹس انٹیریو میں ہو رہے ہیں اس سب سے زیادہ ریشو جو ہے وہ ڈسٹریکشن کی وجہ سے ہے, اور ڈسٹریکشن کی وجہ ون آف دی میجر کاز از ہینڈ ہیلڈ ڈیوائسز. سو میری آپ سب سے یہ گزارش ہے اور میں آپ سب سے یہ التماس بھی ہے کہ پلیز جب آپ گاڑی چلائیں تو بہت دھیان سے ڈرائیونگ کے اوپر اپنا پورا دھیان دیجیے, اور جو آپ کی ادر ایکٹیویٹیز ہیں وہ ان کو سائڈ پہ رکھ دیجیے. کوئی بھی میسج, کوئی بھی ٹیلی فون کال آپ کی جان سے, آپ کی یا آپ کی فیملی کی جان سے زیادہ امپورٹنٹ نہیں ہے. سو پلیز کنسنٹریٹ آن یور ڈرائیونگ, اور جو ادھر ادھر کے دوسرے کام ہیں while you're driving اس کو سائڈ پہ رکھ دیں. اس کو جب آپ اگر بہت ہی امپورٹنٹ کال آپ سمجھ رہے ہیں کوئی آ رہی ہے تو گاڑی کو پول اوور کیجئے, اس میں آرام سے اپنا فون لیجئے, میسیج کیجئے, پھر ڈرائیونگ سٹارٹ کیجئے. کوئی بھی چیز, کوئی بھی فون کال آپ کی اور آپ کی فیملی کی سیفٹی اور جان سے زیادہ امپورٹنٹ نہیں ہے. سو بی سیف اینڈ ڈرائیو.
نام ہے سمینہ احمد. آج جو پروگرام ہوا ہے عالم لاء آفس نے کیا ہے, میں سمجھتی ہوں کہ یہ بہت ہی اچھا پروگرام تھا, اور جن باتوں کو ہم معمولی سمجھتے ہیں آج پتہ چلا کہ کوئی بھی جو قانون ہوتا ہے وہ معمولی نہیں ہوتا, خاص طور پہ جب ہم ڈرائیونگ کرتے ہیں, کیونکہ اس وقت ڈرائیونگ کی ٹریفک کی بات ہے تو کوئی بھی قانون جو ہوتا ہے اس کو نظر انداز نہیں کرنا چاہیے. مجھے یہ علم تو تھا کہ ہمیں بیلٹ لگانی چاہیے, مجھے یہ علم نہیں تھا کہ اگر ہم پیچھے بیٹھے ہوئے ہیں تو پیچھے والوں کا بیلٹ لگانا کتنا ضروری ہے, اور اگر انہوں نے بیلٹ نہ لگائی ہوئی ہو تو وہ خود بھی زخمی ہوتے ہیں اور آگے بیٹھے ہوئے جو لوگ ہیں وہ بھی زخمی ہوتے ہیں. اور دوسری بات یہ ہے کہ جو ایئر بیگ ہے وہ سامنے والی سیٹ کے لیے تو کھلتا ہے لیکن پچھلی سیٹ کے لیے نہیں کھلتا. آج سے میں انشاءاللہ تعالی میں کوشش کروں گی, وعدہ کرتی ہوں کہ اگر میں کبھی پیچھے بیٹھی تو میں بیلٹ ضرور لگاؤں گی, اور اس کا کریڈٹ جائے گا عالم لاء آفس کو.
آج کا سیمینار جو عالم لاء آفس نے کیا یہ بہت آرگنائز تھا اور بڑا انفارمیٹیو تھا, اور خصوصی طور پر ہمیں جن چیزوں کا پتہ چلا اور ہم یہ آگاہی سیمینار تھا, اس سے کافی زیادہ ہمیں اویئرنیس ہوئی ہے, اور ایسے سیمینار مختلف آرگنائزیشن جو ہے وہ کرنی چاہیے. بینگ پاک فائنینس کمیونٹی آرگنائزیشن کی طرف سے میں پبلک کو یہ میسیج دینا چاہتا ہوں کہ سیٹ بیلٹ جو ہے وہ ضرور لگائیں اور ٹریفک کی پابندیوں کے اوپر عمل کریں. اور عالم لاء آفس کی یہ سروسز بہت اچھی ہے, اور سب سے زیادہ میں کریڈٹ عالم لاء آفس کو یہ دیتا ہوں کہ روڈ انجری, ایکسیڈنٹ, ایمرجنسی کے وقت ان کی ہیلپ لائن وہ کافی کارآمد ہے, اور یہ بہت زیادہ اس سے پبلک کو فائدہ ہوتا ہے. کوئی کہیں بھی کسی جگہ پہ ہیلپ لائن کے اوپر اس وقت پھنسا ہوتا ہے, ایکسیڈنٹ ہوا ہے, ڈپریشن میں ہے, ٹینشن میں, کیا کرے, ایک کال کرتا ہے, فوراً رہنمائی ہوتی ہے, اور اس وقت بندہ بڑا ریلیکس ہوتا ہے کہ قانونی پیچیدگیوں سے بچ جاتا ہے. شکریہ عالم لاء آفس آرگنائز سیمینار.
میرا نام عدنان الوی ہے, اور یہاں ہم آج آئے ہوئے ہیں عالم لاء آفس کی طرف سے جو ایونٹ آرگنائز کیا ہے انہوں نے. اٹس فار امپورٹنس فار دا سیٹ بیلٹ, اور اسپیشلی جو پیسنجرز گاڑی کے پیچھے بیٹھتے ہیں ان کے لیے اس کی آج یہ ایونٹ انہوں نے رکھا ہے خاص طور پہ, کیونکہ ہم سب جانتے ہیں کہ اس کی کتنی امپورٹنس ہے, اور پچھلے دنوں کچھ ایسے انسیڈنٹ بھی یہاں پر ہوئے ہیں کہ جس سے اس کی جو امپورٹنس ہے وہ اور بھی زیادہ ہو گئی ہے. تو میں مبارکباد دینا چاہتا ہوں عالم لاء آفس کو کہ وہ اس طریقے سے کمیونٹی میں اچھا کام کر رہے ہیں, اور جو ایونٹس جو امپورٹنٹ چیزیں ہیں اس کو جو ہے وہ کمیونٹی کے اندر اس کو اجاگر کر رہے ہیں.
سیمینار عالم لاء آفس نے کنڈکٹ کیا آن ڈرائیونگ پہ, سیف ڈرائیونگ پہ, اور اسپیشلی سیٹ بیلٹ. اور میں انہیں بھی مبارکباد دیتا ہوں. اور جو لڑکی کی ڈیتھ ہوئی ان کے پیرنٹس یہاں آئے اویئرنیس دینے کے لیے, میں سمجھتا ہوں کہ بہت بڑی ان کی ہمت کی بات ہے کہ وہ دوسروں کے بچوں کو بچانے کے لیے انہوں نے آنا یہاں پسند کیا. اور میں کنگریچولیشن دیتا ہوں عالم لا آفس کو کہ انہوں نے ایسا اچھا پروگرام پیرنٹس کے لیے بھی بچوں کے لیے بھی کنڈکٹ کیا. پولیس سروسز, ہماری ایم پی اقرا خالد, تمام لوگ موجود تھے, کمیونٹی کے تمام لوگ تھے. اویئرنیس عالم لا آفس کو بہت بہت مبارک.
جی ناظرین, آج کے اس پروگرام کے حوالے سے دس از دی اینڈ آف دس پروگرام. لیکن یقیناً جو ہمارا میسج ہے اس پروگرام کے حوالے سے جو کہ ہم اپنی کمیونٹی کو ہم نے دینے کی کوشش کی ہے, وہ میسج اینڈ نہیں ہے, بیکاز آور ایفرٹس ول کنٹینیو. اس آج کے پروگرام میں یقیناً ہمارے فورنزک انجینئرز, کارڈسی انجینئرنگ کے فورنزک انجینئر نے اپنی پریزنٹیشن دی ٹو شیئر سم ویری یوزفل knowledgeable information that was shared with the community. MP Ikra Khalid has shared some words with her. Peel Police has also talked about the safety and distracting driver. I had given a little presentation as well. And all these efforts are for only the reason that seatbelts save life and speeding kills. So with that message, keep watching Toronto 360 TV.
عالم لا آفس کے زیر اہتمام سیٹ بیلٹ سیفٹی کے حوالے سے سیمینار کی کارروائی آپ نے دیکھی, بہت انفارمیٹیو تھا. اور آپ نے ایک چیز نوٹ کی ہوگی, ایک فیملی بھی یہاں پہ موجود تھی جن کی بچی جو ہے وہ سیٹ بیلٹ کی وجہ سے جو ہے وہ موت کے منہ میں چلی گئی. خاص طور پہ اس میں پیرنٹس کے لیے یہ پیغام ہے کہ اپنے بچوں کو اور نوجوانوں کے لیے پیغام ہے کہ وہ سیٹ بیلٹ ضرور باندھیں. تمام چیزوں کو ڈیٹیل میں ڈسکس کیا گیا, اپنے لوگوں کے جو ہے یہاں پہ پیغامات بھی سنے. بڑا امپورٹنٹ ہے ہم قانون کا احترام کریں, ہم جو قانون کہتا ہے اس کے مطابق ڈرائیونگ کریں, تو آپ کی زندگی بچتی ہے اور دوسروں کی زندگی بچتی ہے. ٹورنٹو 360 اسپیشل سے آپ کو کہیں گے خدا حافظ.
You're watching Toronto 360 TV. We will be right back after the break. Thank you.
Keep watching Toronto 360 TV. We will come back after this short commercial break.
Keep watching Toronto 360 TV.
We'll be right back after commercial break.
A criminal charge can be an ugly and nasty surprise. Don't let bad decisions or unfortunate circumstances take control of your life. The criminal lawyers at Alam Law Chambers will listen to your story and develop the best defense for you. Nothing in life is more important than your freedom. Reliable and affordable. Alam Law.